Welcome back to the 94 Code channel. This is a little experiment of mine, but I think I want to start a video series called Car Adjacent Things. Just videos where I talk about a certain car related topic, or in other words, it's not me necessarily just like wrenching on something. So let's officially call this Car Adjacent Things Episode 1. If some of you are new here, it's probably because ShopDAP turned you on to my channel. ShopDAP, all the cool guys down there, we met up while we were in Helen for Alpine Volks Fair, and they were kind enough to want to shoot a feature on my car. So big shout out to them. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you guys, and I really appreciate the exposure that video has brought me. While we're on the subject of that video, I was responding to a lot of the comments. I couldn't help but notice that there was an overwhelming amount of comments around the topic of why I started my YouTube channel and the fact that I documented how to do this swap. So I wanted to elaborate my thoughts on the topic of gatekeeping, kind of expand on that a little bit, and also just talk about my thoughts on the state of the car community, of the Volkswagen community as a whole. So let's talk about that some. So for those of you that are new here, this is my 2010 Volkswagen GTI. It is a Mark 6 and it has a 3.6 liter VR6 in it paired with a 6-speed manual transmission. And basically the entire reason that I started this YouTube channel was to chronicle this build right here. Chronicle everything that it took to do it, the building of the drivetrain, the sourcing of parts, the wiring, the first startup, the first drive, all that. And that's because I hate gatekeeping. I've touched on this before in previous videos, so bear with me, but also allow me to elaborate a bit. Obviously, I'm not a fan of gatekeeping. I don't claim to be the first person to do this swap. I don't claim to have the coolest car on YouTube. Hell, I don't even claim to have the coolest Volkswagen on YouTube. I might have the coolest Volkswagen on my block, but a large part of why I set out to do this project was because I know that there was other people who were also eager to do this swap, but like myself were strapped for resources. See, I DM'd shops, I DM'd YouTubers, I DM'd people on Facebook, I DM'd people on Instagram, and unfortunately, an overwhelming majority of them either left me on red or just told me to get lost. Now, I don't want to speak on behalf of everyone. There were a couple of you that were more than willing to tell me what you knew, and you know who you are, and I appreciate it. But it really got me thinking, why are we gatekeeping Volkswagens of all cars? I mean, it's the people's car. It's an economy car. I think a lot of that is chalked up to social media, Instagram and TikTok to be specific. I just feel like Instagram and TikTok have yielded a lot of gatekeepers. There's, more eyes on every car in the whole world now more than ever with social media and YouTube and Facebook and whatnot. And so people like to feel exclusive. They like to feel like they have the only one of something. But see, I didn't get into cars because I wanted to have the fastest or the most expensive or the most well-known, this, that, or the other. I got into cars because my friends were into them. And I would go to local Cars and Coffee and just talk to everyday guys and girls who just like doing car stuff.
See, for me, this car and the Volkswagen scene, or really the car scene in general, isn't about exclusivity, but rather inclusivity. I think that being in the car scene and being a car guy and all of my car friends, it's just one of the coolest feelings in the world. And we love hanging out with each other, and we love bouncing ideas off of each other, and we love learning things from each other.
When I first bought this car, I bought this car when I was 21. I'm 30 now, so I've almost had this car for 10 years. I was very fortunate to have friends, to have shop owners, to have a local car scene, a local VW community that was very inclusive and was very willing to kind of tell me what to do, what not to do, advise me on services and maintenance and stuff that I had to do to the car. And it just seems like all that's gone now. Everything has to be exclusive. Everything has to be a secret. Everything has to be a competition. And I mean, again, I drive a Volkswagen, so what am I really competing in? So all this to say, I knew that there was people out there like myself who want to do this swap who, again, just didn't know where to start. And so I figured, why not make a starting point? And so that's why I did the videos and compiled the parts list and published all of my wiring notes, which are all completely free, by the way. They're all in the video description of the swap series, all 5 episodes. All that information is going to be in there. But if you're one of those people out there and you're gatekeeping your project and you have young, impressionable, aspiring car enthusiasts coming to you for answers, the only thing that you're going to do by gatekeeping information is just teach the next generation of car enthusiasts to be cold, to be callous, to be closed off. And the car scene is in a very weird state right now. There's the whole topic of takeovers, which that's a completely separate conversation to have. But the thing that means the most to me with the car community is just that, the community. You go to shows like Helen for Alpine Volks Fair, and you go to shows like Wookiees in the Woods at Tail of the Dragon. It's not a competition. It's a gathering of internet friends, and it's family. It's people that only go to those shows so they can see their friends from last year's show. And there's people there who are traveling to see cool cars, who are traveling to get inspired. In the case of Wookiees in the Woods, you got people there like myself. Last year was my first year, who they call it a Wookie rookie. And so I want to go there just to learn more about this engine, learn, the limits of my car better. It's not a competition. It's not even a show per se. It's an event. The Volkswagen community needs more of that energy. We don't need gatekeepers. We live in a day and age where working on your car, or rather getting your car worked on, is harder and more expensive than ever. The fact of the matter is, it's very expensive to own and maintain any car now. And so there is a boom of people doing DIY repairs to their cars, at home, because that's the only thing they can afford to do. And so the more that we cherish community and the more that we cherish sharing information, the more we're just going to be able to help each other out.
So yes, while this iteration of our car scene might not change for a while, what's going to happen 10 years from now when the next generation of car enthusiasts is ready to kind of start their own wave and make their big splash? The more that we teach those young enthusiasts, those young up and coming, people who want to bust some knuckles and turn some wrenches on their own in their driveway, the more that we teach them now, then the stronger and better the car community is going to become. It all snowballs, and it all starts with your openness and your willingness to teach others.
That's not to say that, of course, I'll gladly take somebody's money who wants me to work on their car and service and maintain their car. Of course, I'll do that. There's some people out there who just absolutely do not want to work on their own car, and I don't discredit those people one bit either. But, beyond being a business owner, I'm an enthusiast first. And like I said before, I was very fortunate when I first got into this car to have people around me who wanted and who were willing to help and who wanted to see me do good. And I feel like we're starting to lose that touch a little bit. Really, guys, at the end of the day, I didn't do this to be famous. I didn't do this to make money. I definitely didn't do this to make money. I have made this much money on YouTube so far. I did this because perhaps there's one person out there who start to finish can use my guide on how I did this to my car. And maybe one day I'll be able to meet them. They'll come up to me and say, "Hey, Chobi, I saw your videos and I followed your guide step by step. I got all the same parts. I did the wiring and here's my car." That would mean the absolute world to me if there's one of you out there who pulls that off and is able to shake my hand one day. I hope that's the case. It's really all I have to say. Leave a comment down below. What are your thoughts on gatekeeping? What are your thoughts on the car scene or the VW scene specifically as a whole? And I appreciate you tuning into my soapbox. I'll see you on the next one.